Hi everybody, Julia Stock, Business Revolutionary with Be Astute. We are continuing our A to Z of vocabulary for skills and employability. This week we are talking about N for neurodiversity, which is a topic that scares a lot of people. But actually, once you've been working in the sector for a long time, it's probably something where you have an awful lot of experience of dealing with learners with different needs. And neurodiversity is just one part of helping to break down those barriers to learning. What it does do is link through into our ALN strategy, where you find that a lot of providers are doing a lot more work than they're getting paid for. Partly because some providers are very scared of the rules around ALN. And so are doing a lot of support work with learners because that's what we do it automatically, partly because that's our job, partly because that's who we are. And also when we're not thinking about it as part of an ALN strategy, so we're not drawing down the funding that learner is entitled to, and you are entitled to as the provider, it restricts your room for manoeuvre. The number of providers that I talk to who are doing the work, and then you go, well, do you think you're claiming all the money that you think you could? And they go, no. To which we have to answer the question, why not? When we don't draw down the funding that the learner and we are entitled to, we are restricting our room for manoeuvre. There are some amazing niche support providers out there that do fantastic work in supporting providers with learners with more extreme needs. What you find as a provider is that you have a level of comfort with learners with certain issues. Neurodiversity is merely one of those. So when you come across a learner that you really want to work with, who has needs that are more extreme than your comfort zone, then actually it's really sensible, one, to be drawing down the funding, but two, to be looking at accessing more professional and experienced support for that learner, because that's how we're going to ensure, one, that the learner has a great experience, two, that our staff are supported, but also have that opportunity, and we have the opportunity to learn from those specialists and expand our own practice, because we can learn from these people and then we can adapt our own practice to mean that we can cope more comfortably and support learners with greater needs than we're currently comfortable with dealing with. So neurodiversity covers a whole range of learning difficulties, both specific and non-diagnosed. It's become, and I'm about to sound very old, terribly fashionable. And a lot of people are self-diagnosing, but at the same time, more traditionally in training providers, we come across learners who do have needs, but are so embarrassed by their school experience that they're not ready and happy and comfortable to confess when we first meet them. So when we are looking at how we are engaging with learners, and again, how we're using our ALN strategy, it can't just be about, you have to tell us at sign up. And if you don't tell us at sign up, then you don't have an issue. And if the only question we're asking at sign up is, do you have an issue? Do you have an education and health support plan? Have you had a formal diagnosis? If those are the only questions that we're asking, we are never going to find out all the other things that are going on. So we need to be looking more imaginatively about the questions that we're asking at the beginning. We need to be looking more imaginatively at the questions that we're asking during progress reviews. we need to be looking at the training that we're giving our staff on how to recognize issues and how to be comfortable in reporting those issues. So we also need to be looking at our strategy for how we are engaging with staff when we're discussing learners. Is it just that your teaching staff have a relationship with their IQAs and those are the only conversations that are happening about learner progression? If that's the only relationship that we've got going on, then we're never giving ourselves the opportunity to look at this stuff strategically, because we as leaders aren't getting involved in those nitty-gritty conversations. So to really do ALN well and to support learners with neurodiverse needs well, we as leaders need to be getting our hands a little bit dirtier so that we know what's going on. How do we know that a learner needs us to commission external support unless we're having the conversations about all of the learners, or that we have really good information networks in order to be able to find out what's going on? And it's amazing, or it amazes me. And yes, I was always terribly hands-on as a leader, but it amazes me sometimes how hands-off some leaders are in terms of not getting involved in individual learners. Somebody has to get involved in individual learners at a level where we can make decisions. And somebody has to know at strategic level what the patterns are, because then we can make better decisions around how to support those learners and how to design training programs that meet those learners' needs without it being really cheesy. So that's N for neurodiversity, which is heavily linked in to A for ALN. Thank you very much for watching. If there are any issues that have been raised by this video, please get in touch. We'd love to have a chat with you. Thanks.